Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we are going to be having a look at a brand new trailer showing off, more of Kislev and some units that we didn't see in the previous footage. You know, the demo battle or the other cutscenes. You know, the other cinematic trailers and things they've released. So I can't wait. So let's take a look at it, and then I'll go back and we can talk about specifics. So here it is.
We are the bulwark of the North. Behold the unyielding motherland. Through the teachings of the great orthodoxy, this world's end is kept at the bay. Our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, stand united against the onslaught of chaos. With the strength of Ursun, the mighty bear god, and the power of winter itself. Tear them down! Join us! Pledge yourself to the ice court! Defend the legacy of Kislev!
Alright, so that was awesome. That was really, really cool. Really, really cool to see. Lots of new stuff. So let's go back into it, and we can just point out some things that I am excited about, and also things we might not have seen before. And generally, I'll point at stuff and go, ooh.
We are the bulwark.
Okay, so these guys immediately, these look a lot like the Tsar Guard that we saw in the gameplay demo, except these ones have axes and these ones have great weapons. So I don't know if the axes are going to be perhaps more geared towards anti-infantry, or maybe they have shield breaker on them perhaps. You know, I do wonder what the difference there is going to be. Great weapons, obviously, they're just going to be armor piercing and lacking shields, right? That's the trend, usually with the great weapon variant. I can't imagine it's any different here. But yeah, swords to axes, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting switch, so we'll see how that goes.
Of the North. Behold the unyielding motherland. Through the teachings of the great. Behold.
So I just want to point out here, actually, the architecture is uniquely Kislev. So we're seeing the domes, and we're seeing the sort of very sort of low, flat, wide roofs, which I think are more characteristic of sort of more colder climates. So you can even see this little roundhouse up here, which is interesting. So there are some sort of vaguely Nordic references in here, you know, with the sort of the round buildings. I think it looks very, very cool indeed.
The unyielding motherland.
So there's a pistol here, which makes you wonder if this is a some kind of sort of captain, or maybe a boyar or something, but some kind of hero character with a pistol. Because I don't think this guy is part of this unit. Although maybe it is, actually. Because now that I look, it does look a little bit like there was another guy there. Come on. There we go. This guy also has a pistol. He has one on his back as well. Huh. Oh, he's holding an axe, but that seems to be a pistol, right? So maybe this is supposed to be part of the unit? It's hard to tell. But yeah, pistols and axes. So is that what these are? Are these Tsar Guard with pistols and axes? That could be interesting. That's if they're Tsar Guard at all, but that's my assumption right now.
Through the teachings of the great.
So, oh well, we just missed them. But anyway, more Kossars, so that's cool.
Orthodoxy.
Bowmen, and also spears, which is good. So they have some anti-infantry, so a bit like Lothern Sea Guard, without shields, clearly.
This world's end is kept at the.
Got the Streltsy there, shooting away. Really cool vista, I love it. I also really like these big, just stacks of rocks. I'm not sure what these signify, or what the merit is there, or because it's just so northern that this is some kind of sort of ancient worship. Because I know that in the Empire they got rid of all the Ogham stones, you know, these big sort of Stonehenge kind of things, you know, big stones, often burial mounds for like Fimir and things, you know, sort of back when sort of predating the arrival of chaos, just these sort of very strange and ancient forms of worship. So, you know, I don't know if it's something like that, and they just haven't been knocked down, or they're still treated with reverence in Kislev, where they're not so much in the Empire. I wonder. So I'd like to know more about that, though I doubt we'll get it. It could just be set dressing that's quite pretty, but I'd like to know the thinking behind that, honestly.
Baby. Our mothers and fathers.
Rasputin. Rasputin? There's a Rasputin. So judging from the bears here, clearly some sort of Ursun warrior priest. I'd say that's a pretty good guess, right? So there's some religious troops, basically, much like we got, you know, in the Empire, we got the flagellants and the warrior priests and everything. It does look like Ursun may have some influence on the battlefield. Excuse me, some influence on the battlefield. So that is quite exciting.
Brothers and sisters. Stand you.
Battle Kitty. Yeah, it needs a shout out, right? There's some kind of ice tiger, which is mental. But also, with all this decoration, and the fact that he does seem like he does strike me as sort of elemental in some kind. The very, very cold thing. I don't know if this is just sort of, you know, ice wolves exist, and I guess so do ice tigers, but that seems like a strange evolution for a tiger to be here. So I don't know if this is just part of the royal menagerie. This is perhaps some connection to Ind, which I would love to see in the game one day, because we have Cathay, you know, coming in Warhammer 3, but maybe Ind in that part of the world as well, and this could be a reference to that. This could be a gift from some envoy, right? There could be some story element explaining why there's an ice tiger. I think you'd have to imbue a tiger with ice magic for it to be able to sort of survive out here. So I do wonder. All the decoration makes me think of sort of the, you know, Maharajas and things.
With the strength of Ursun.
So here we have our first look at Ice Witch. I love the animations, the fact they can sort of fly around. They're not surfing like Katarina is. They're not doing the sort of Frozone move. But I do like that they are able to sort of move themselves around. But that could be because we also have the Lord of Tempest. So it could literally be they're controlling the wind around them. It could be like Storm from X-Men, you know? That could be the inspiration here. But it looks awesome. They look great in motion. So I'm assuming this is a either sort of the equivalent of a you know, Empire captain or something, or possibly a patriarch. Though I'm not sure if that's quite what the patriarch looked like. Obviously, we've only seen the patriarch on a bear right now, but that could be a, you know, patriarch on foot, or it could be a boyar, like an Empire captain style unit. Gun axes, just gun axes, guys. Whoops. Gun axe. Gun axes. It's a gun axe. I love these guys. I love the Streltsy. They're really, really cool units. And I just think they are oozing with just flair, and I feel like there's a story behind them. I mentioned it in the demo, you know, I loved that. It feels to me like a great solution for the sort of world they live in. You know, they need the axes to fell the trees to keep themselves warm while they're on patrol. You know, they feel to me like, you know, very relevant sort of skirmishers, you know, hiding in the forest and just trying to take pot shots at the nasties that flood into Kislev on a daily basis. You know, Kislev always has Norskans or monsters or something coming in from sort of Chaos Wastes and Norska to the north of them. So it's just, I love it. It's so much flavour. It adds a lot to, I think, the flavour of Kislev. Very nice. Just gun axe. All the gun axes. I think they look great. I love them. I know, I love the gun axes, but I also love the little other details as well. They've clearly got their shot and things being kept in these little vials. There's a lot of fun details here, which are really, really nice to see, because this is all brand new stuff, you know. We don't have any models for reference for these things, so to see these just fresh little details is, I love it. And so yeah, here to me looks like the patriarch. It looks similar in dress to the other guy, but he's riding a bear now. But he also does look like a lot of the other war bears, so I don't know if this is actually a hero character or they've just detached a single model from the rest of the unit so they can have it in the foreground. It's hard to tell sometimes. Are they just showing off a unit with, you know, one model of it being in focus, or is it everything? It's hard to say. Hard to say if that's what they've been doing in this video or not. The bear just swatted that guy to the side. It's sick. I really hope that's an animation we get to see. Just the bear going, no, stop it. Bad human. I think that's great. I love it. Beautiful animation, but feels very cinematic, so who knows? Again, this could be just bespoke for the cutscene. I don't know.
Join us! Pledge yourself to...
I want to join you. I would join you. You have battle sleds. So I don't know what these are going to be called. Like ice sleds, battle sleds, bear chariots. There's a lot that this could be. I'm sure it'll have sled in it, because, you know, it behaves like a chariot. You know, it's a not horse-drawn, it's a bear-drawn cart. It's cool as hell. Again, I said this when I saw Little Grom in the demo. This, again, is just a brilliant solution for the climate, because the idea of pulling anything heavy through the thick snow of Kislev, you would just get ambushed and murdered, right? You can't really have this sort of heavy-duty machinery like artillery and things in the snow. It would just be so impractical. But they have ice magic, so of course they're just going to make a big old bed of ice and have these like hover cars. This is pod racing. That's what this is. Now this is pod racing. It's amazing. I love it. Again, so much flavour, and it's a solution that is really applicable to the culture and the sort of the military of Kislev. It's incredibly thematic and gorgeous as well. They look awesome.
The ice core!
Oh, also, these bears are different. These are grizzlies rather than the polar bears that we've been seeing up until now. So I wonder what the distinction is there, if we'll see it. Don't know. I'd like to think there are many different sorts of bears, and that will actually be covered, because I just think that'd be fun flavour. But either way, slightly different models, so interesting to see there is some variety there.
Defend the legacy of Kislev!
I mean, Elemental Bear is just awesome. But also, if you look at the background, it looks like the beacons are lit, which, again, is really nice for, like, horrible, mountainous, crappy region of the world that is Kislev. This is the way you'd do it, isn't it? You'd have to signal like this, trying to get through all the thick snow and the mountains. It'd just be impossible to get messages around quickly. And when your entire military sort of revolves around sort of hit and running and skirmishing, you know, you have things like the Ungol horse archers whittling down enemies and tiring them out. And then you have that final attack from the winged lancers to sort of break whatever invader there is after you've exhausted them. You need to get on top of them before they get to your cities, and for that you need to have good communication. So this is, again, a really cool flavour that just helps sort of tie in what we know about how Kislev functions, because that's pretty much the only way it describes their military, right? Is they'll do hit and runs and just slowly whittle down warbands and things out in the plains, you know? And so, strong signalling, get those soldiers where they need to be, very, very cool. Oh, and, you know, you're going to be able to see him, aren't you? Conquer your demons. I mean, there's nothing else here. We're going to conquer demons, aren't we? But yeah, absolutely wonderful. Let's actually scroll it back ever so slightly. There we go. I mean, it's a bit bleached out because, you know, it was fading in, but we don't want all the random banners. So yeah, Tsarina Katerin, obviously we saw in front of the Elemental Bear. I didn't mention her, but you know, we all know about Tsarina Katerin. She looks amazing. I love her new model. You know, she looks great. It's a really nice update from the original Games Workshop model. I think she looks fantastic. And of course the Bloodthirsters look great. All of Khorne's units are very, very Khorne, very, very scary, but I've got to say, all the new stuff we're seeing, you know, these are all bespoke, essentially. These are all bespoke things for Kislev that we haven't seen before. This isn't using old models, this is all brand new stuff, and we're seeing it here first. You know, we're not seeing it as a model line or something. No, this is all purely like, I mean, not purely Creative Assembly, but Creative Assembly are the ones that are showing us it first, you know? So it's really cool. I love the amount of freedom they're being given, and I cannot wait to see Cathay if it's anything like this, because there are some amazing bits of flair to this army that makes it feel really unique but fantastical. They're not just like, oh, and here's, you know, Empire, like an Empire sub-faction. That's basically what they were in Tabletop originally. It's just sort of like supplemental, here's the odd thing that is a bit Kislev themed. But now we're seeing stuff like they've gone all in. Those battle sleds, for instance, like those things are amazing. I think they're so cool. So, as well as the trailer, we actually have some screenshots as well to look at, and that will also reveal a fair bit. So, let's move on to them. First off, we have, I mean, there's Tsarina Katerin, obviously doing the Frozone maneuver, you know, gliding around on her ice, which looks amazing, by the way. Just shout out for that. That is a work of genius. I love that. And again, makes total sense. You know, she doesn't need to plod through the rough terrain like that. No, she's a powerful woman. She needs to inspire people. She needs to be seen, right? So she's above the fray. So it's brilliant. It fits her status and her power. I think it's really, really cool. Also, yeah, Ice Tiger, which is just awesome. It looks amazing, and it really does. I mean, it's actually kind of tough because, you know, I did say like there's sort of like Maharaja kind of, you know, sort of jewellery and things on it. It does look very sort of exotic, sort of, you know, sort of Indian vibe to it. But it is all like ice gems, so I don't know. It's very strange. But like, what is a tiger doing here? That's what I want to know. Although I guess it's a saber-toothed tiger, right? They've just given it more of a tiger pattern. So it could literally be they wanted to make it look more fantastical. It could just be, oh, why not a saber-toothed tiger? Because, you know, they're in the north. That's quite a cool thing to have in your menagerie, right? If you're an ice queen. I don't know. Could be that. Could be that. We'll see. We'll see. I want to know more. You can see I'm very interested in the fluff rather than function. I'm assuming that thing will be I don't know what, actually. It's like maybe anti-infantry. I don't know. Possibly anti-infantry. Bit of an assassin. I imagine they can be quite quick. I mean, it's a flipping tiger. Certainly anti-armor. Look at those teeth. Ooh, amazing. Also, could be a good hunter, actually, for like chasing down, like a good duelist. Because being quick and also being icy, you better slow down the enemies. So it could be quite good for that. So we'll see. We'll see. Obviously, on the right here, we have another ice witch, or possibly a tempest witch. I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say. I don't know if we've been shown any tempest stuff yet. But the way that her dress seems to be getting blown up, Marilyn Monroe style, I'm assuming the wind is involved somehow. But she looks amazing. Really, really cool. Absolutely love it. And also, with the sort of eye makeup around here and these big swirls, there is a sort of shamanistic value to it, which does tie in with that Rasputin looking dude that we saw earlier. So that's interesting. There is sort of shamanistic thing to it, which I guess makes a bit more sense than being more sort of northern, sort of closer to sort of rawer styles of magic. You know, this is magic that was taught to them by the elves, all cultured like, you know. It's, so I could see it being a bit more sort of shamanistic in their approach, which is really cool. I'd love to see it. Also, I think there's Griffin Legion in the back there. They use griffin feathers rather than whatever feathers the winged lancers usually use, like seagull or something, I don't know. We can see the Ice Guard at the top there with their ice bows shooting their ice arrows, just generally ice themed. You'll notice there's a theme with Kislev and it's ice. So there's some really cool stuff. Also, these warbears appear to be grizzly as well. So these aren't polar bear looking things. So I don't know if this is Regiment of Renown or if there are multiple tiers of ice bear. Makes me wonder though. Makes me wonder. Does make me wonder. So that's the first screenshot. Next up, here's that Rasputin looking mofo again, which is super interesting. Really interesting indeed. But yeah, cool stuff. There's also a bunch of Ungol cavalry back there. I don't think horse archers. They seem to be in melee. Was that no, that bow is one of the Cossars behind him, isn't it? So it does look like there's going to be melee cavalry. Same as, sort of similar to Dark Riders, I imagine. You get the Dark Riders, they have the Dark Riders repeater crossbows. I imagine they'll have the Ongol horsemen and horse archers. Perhaps. Certainly seems to be the case here, but I can't say for certain. Looks great, though. Looks great. Also, I thought he was carrying something, but no, that's part of that banner, which is very cool. So, big standard up here. Very cool. Very, very cool indeed. Also, good to see standards, actually, now that I think about it. Because we don't have a lot of standards in this game, and it is nice to see them. So, yeah, maybe. I mean, this is purely speculation. Don't at me. Maybe we'll be able to see banners added to more units. You know, if you put a banner item on a unit, maybe we'll see it one day. That would be great. I know a lot of people want sort of banners and, you know, standard bearers and musicians, right? That's something I've wanted for a long time too. But you never know. There's potential. There's potential. They're embracing the banners. We'll see. We'll see. Also, great details on the corn units with the skulls and the additional headdresses that you usually see, which is really cool. Extra chains just hanging off their armor, probably to hang more skulls off, you know, off them when they capture someone. Well, not capture someone, you know, capture their skulls. So, interesting stuff here. But yeah. Also, I'm assuming these are Cossars here, and then behind them are Streltsy. I'm pretty sure that's what those lights are. I don't think it's flaming arrows. I think that's gunpowder weaponry in the background. So, moving on. Here we have the polar bears again. So, you know, definitely polar bears and grizzlies, so that's pretty confusing. Also, seems there's a fury there, I think. I think that's one of the furies. And here we are seeing the something crushers. Blood crush? I don't know. I keep forgetting which one's which. So one thing that someone did point out, because I mentioned in the demo, because I hadn't been looking closely at a lot of these units. I saw one type of Juggernaut unit and thought that was all of them, and it was the one that we saw from the cutscene, the first, you know, the reveal cutscene. It was a Chaos Warrior on a Juggernaut, but that does exist. I was thinking that no, it's supposed to be Bloodletters, but that's because just for reference, I looked at the Demons of Chaos book. I rarely look at the Chaos books for the armies because I play the RPG. I don't tend to play. Well, I never play tabletop. I never have. I used to collect a lot of the models, but I never played tabletop. So the specifics about the armies interest me less than the specifics of the motivations and the world building and the cults around them and things. But specific units often go straight over my head. So sorry about that. So yeah, I did mention I thought it was like they did with the Horned Ones, because Horned Ones aren't supposed to be ridden by Saurus Warriors, they're supposed to be ridden by Skinks, but they made some liberties there for, I guess, time saving or something. I thought they'd done the same here, but no, they haven't. I think both of them exist in this game, and I think both of them existed in the demo. I just kept getting the names confused, because it's all blood and skulls and things, they all just blend together in my mind. So, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, we do have Bloodletters on Juggernauts, and there are Chaos Warriors on Juggernauts as well, so the Skull Crushers and the Blood Blenders, I don't know, I forget their specific names. It's all just very corn, isn't it? But you get the idea. So yeah, bears. And back here, these are two-handed swords by the looks of it. So that, again, is another unit variety that we've seen. So we've seen the big, like, heavy clubs. We've seen swords, we've seen axes, and now two-handed swords. So we've seen the great swords here as well. So there seems to be a big variety of the sort of weaponry that the infantry are carrying, which is very interesting. I find that very interesting. So I think a lot of them will be fairly similar units, but there's a lot of variety within that, which I think is great. So I'm a big fan of that. Also, that's Winged Hussars in the back, I believe, and more of the Ice Guard there. You know, Queen Katarina, Tsarina Katarine's Ice Guard there. Elemental Bear in the back, and more Ungol Horsemen, I believe, here. So very cool to see. Right, next up. So this one, I think, is a campaign map, but it might not be. It genuinely might not be. This could just be a vista of a battle map that's incredibly fancy. It would say that there's a lot more sort of terrain variety if it is a battle map with different ups and downs, you know, different ridges and patches of trees and things. So some more variety in terms of terrain, which could be cool. But it does look a bit like the campaign map, I must say. It does have that vibe to me, but we'll soon see, I'm sure. So there's statues up here of bears. So clearly they do Ursun proud. It's nice to see that, because obviously Sigmar made a pretty big impression on the maps of the Empire. So it's nice to see that Kislev now have their own flair. You know, just basically doing a what's it called? Mount Rushmore. He's doing a Mount Rushmore everywhere, upsetting all the locals. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And the next screenshot is actually the same. If you see this little construction down here, I believe this little thing that you can barely see is this. I believe it's this, because you can still see the windmill back here. You can see one statue there, and there should be one behind here. If I flit back, that's this mountain here. Right, so you can see that mountain. This mountain here is here, you see? So this is just a lower view of the same map. And we're seeing more of these little sort of totems hanging up. I don't know if these are supposed to be warnings or literally just there to mark a border from one place to another. I'm really not sure. I would love to know more about these. I don't know if there's some like real world equivalent that is like the obvious draw here. I don't know if that's the case. Let me know if you guys have found any sort of piles of stones that have some kind of meaning that would sort of fit Kislev. Let me know, and I would love to look it up. I'd love to see that. It's just an odd thing to research, because you can't research piles of rocks, yo, and it tells you stuff. It's, you know, a bit tough. Anyway, so it looks really cool. And moving on, here we have, again, could be either, but I think this may very well be a battle map. It certainly looks like one, but then we don't know how much detail they're putting in the campaign map these days. So who knows? But it looks great. It looks really cool. Although that appears to be a boat somehow. So is this an old river? Did there used to be a river that flowed through here once? That could be cool. Interesting. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I love the vistas. The fact that the sort of sun barely gets through the clouds, you know. It really just, it struggles to pierce the fierce weather. It's very fun. And here, now it's nicer, but look at the sort of the mist, you know, rolling along the hills. It looks really cool. These icy patches. It looks really nice, but just like beautiful, beautiful day. So yeah, I think this is beautiful. There's some really nice screenshots we're getting from here. And then this one, just this brilliant dwarven architecture, because dwarven architecture, it's everywhere. It is everywhere in the old world, whether it's Kislev or, you know, the Empire. Oh, they've made their mark. They have made their mark. Because you've got to remember, the dwarves did get all the way up to Norsca, you know, the Krakadrak dwarves being up in the north in Norsca, and they'd lost contact with them. But there's bound to be lots of old structures between the Karazankor and Krakadrak still remaining. These things do not fall apart quickly. Dwarves really know what they're doing. So yeah, really cool to see that. You know, nice to see some more dwarven architecture. Big fan. And now we have a battle screenshot. So this is pretty interesting. So if we look at the bottom, obviously a lot of warbear riders. We have a bunch of Ongol horse archers. We also have what looks to be one of the battle sled units. You know, whatever they may be called. There's also Little Grom. You can see Little Grom over here, which is cool. So I like that. But there's also some that are a little less, a little less difficult to work out. So I know one of these is the Ice Guard that we saw from the demo, but there's also another one here. So it looks like we've got the Ice Guard with spears, the halberds and bows. But I think we also have another unit, and I'm struggling to see what that could be, honestly, because it seems to be the same across here. So there's another unit that's hidden somewhere, I think. Because yeah, that's the Bear Riders in the top right. Ongol Horse Archers. But yeah, we're just seeing the same icon for all these, which makes me wonder what the other ones actually are. I really want to know. Although actually we're seeing cross swords down here, so that makes me think that they're dual-wielding. That those are the dual-wielding Ice Guard, which is cool to see. I don't know if they've still got range or not. No idea, but it is nice to see that the elites have some unit variety as well, so different uses for all those elite units. That's really cool. And then Zargard with great weapons, perhaps? I think Zargard with great weapons, looking a bit like, great swordsmen or foot squires. Very cool to see that. Very cool indeed. And Tsarina leading, of course. She has a couple of abilities here. So she has the one ability, which I have completely forgotten the name of. If someone could fill that in the comments for me, I've forgotten what it's called. But there's also another one here that appears to be some kind of magic missile. So some sort of hail of frost or something bound to her here, she can blast people with. I'm assuming, judging from the picture and the icon, that could very well be that ability, that spell that we saw in the... what was the one? The announcement video. You know, when she went toe to toe with that bloodthirster and just, you know, shot it with a hail of, well, hail. So really, really cool. I think that could be what that is, because I don't feel like we really got that spell represented in the spells that she had. So it could be that move of hers from the cutscene wasn't representing one of the spells, but one of her abilities. So I do wonder if that's the case. I can't wait to find out. Also nice to see that she has Arcane Conduit and Stand Your Ground, so very traditional sort of spell casting moves there. Well, one for a general, one for a spellcaster. So pretty cool to see. And it is also nice to see the new interface for the Winds of Magic again there. I do like the changes they've made to that. Although, weird that it's not currently filled up. I guess she's not selected. That makes sense. Although, that's also interesting. If you can use her abilities when she's not selected. Huh. Yeah, she's not selected, but you can use her abilities. I hope that's something that they've changed. And that I just didn't notice it in the previous demo. This could just be that this is mocked up a bit for this screenshot, but let's get the speculation train rolling, shall we? So, next screenshot. Okay, this is making me think that maybe it's mocked up, because if I... sorry for anyone who finds this jarring, but if you look down in the bottom left at Tsarina Katerin and her abilities, the abilities have moved positions slightly. The UI has changed size, which means I think it could be a bit of a mock-up. But she's selected now, and you can see her spells. So they may have just added that's those same elements to this screenshot, just so, you know, it looks like, oh yes, she has her abilities, rather than people going, she doesn't have any abilities if they see the screenshot. Could be marketing takes liberties, it just does. So, yeah, so here, this is the same army, but in the thick of things, and we are seeing more of the enemy here, but it does just seem to be a bunch of bloodthirsters with great weapons, which is, yeah, just normal not bloodthirsters, bloodletters. It's Khorne, okay? I'm going to do this forever. You guys are going to have to get used to it. I will say the names wrong all the time, because it's all just blood and crushing and grinding. It's all of it. It's all Khorne. Demons. There's demons here. Brilliant. So anyway, but yeah, it looks amazing, and yeah, we have a better look at these now. I can see they do have bows. So dual wielding and bows. So that's a really cool mix, and I really like how that's represented on the banner here. That's very clear. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So yeah, looking really cool. And that's it. That's it, guys. That's all of the things. So let's go back to what I think is my favourite. This one. You know what? We've got to see this weird Rasputin guy. So I like this. I like there's a Rasputin man. I think that's really funny. I wonder how much of the mythos of Rasputin there will be in this Rasputin-looking dude. I don't know if there's a character or it's just a warrior priest, but I mean, look at him. This is clearly modelled on Rasputin, right? It's got to be. So yeah, looking really cool. Looking really cool indeed. So that's all I've got for you today, guys. But God, there's some cool stuff there. There's a lot to mull over, and hopefully I've managed to get you thinking about a few things, and maybe you'll get me thinking in the comments. We will see. So guys, if you enjoyed this, then please do comment, like, and subscribe. And if you are looking to pre-order Warhammer 3, then go to nexus.com/Janet, because I get a very nice commission from that. And that really helps the channel out. I cannot stress that enough. And I get double commission this week. So it would help me out twice as much. And it doesn't cost you a penny extra than if you bought it on Steam. It's the same cost, and it gives you a Steam key, and it comes straight from the developer, so it's not been stolen. No stolen credit card nonsense on Nexus. So it's all good, and it helps me out a huge amount. So brilliant. I've sold myself out, and I've made you think. So that'll have to do it. So guys, if you enjoyed this, comment, like, subscribe. See you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.